It's Bourbon Blog Live. We are joined live from Austin, Texas with our good friends, President Kyle Herman and Shelley Buck, resident whiskey som, and she does so much there at the company for Nine Banded, and we're trying their lovely bourbons today right there. How are you all doing?
Fantastic.
How are you?
Good. It's great to see you both. We've been big fans for a while of what you guys are doing, and what's been happening at Nine Banded?
Man,
Actually,
why don't you go ahead?
you want me to go ahead?
It's such an open-ended question, but feel free to get answered any way you want.
Great. So we'll let Kyle we're going to get into the more detailed background of the brand.
Yeah.
But essentially, we have two bourbons that we're going to taste today.
Yeah.
I keep going the opposite way. It's like a mirror. And I am going to whip up a little cocktail with you.
Wow.
Wishing that we were all sitting together 6 feet apart and able to do this together. But thank you, Tom, for setting this up and letting us all be here. This is really special. We all know each other from different lives, and so it's really great to come full circle and have this. So thank you. Cheers.
It really is. No, it's great to be with you guys. And I even see behind you, it's a new photo that you got put up there. That's Dave Pickerel there with the whiskey sign. Yeah,
so I took this photo of Dave back in San Diego at the Whiskey House after we had a long day of working and hitting every whiskey. This is a print on canvas. So
wonderful.
I decided that for my artwork in my new apartment here in Austin, that I would only print things that mean something to me. And so I printed Dave on canvas. And what a better way to have, a whiskey light above your bar, but to have Dave Pickerel actually holding it up. Because he's
holding your whiskey
in this industry. And so cheers.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
so cool.
I think we should definitely give him a toast.
Well, we're raising a
Dave.
toast to Dave, and Dave's watching down on us and toasting to us from above too. So it's good to see him there in the picture.
I used to own this and put him in the glass in photos. So cheers.
Yes, that's so cool. That's so cool to have him joining us, to have you all joining us. And I'm beginning to sip on. I'm starting off right here with your straight bourbon whiskey at 90 proof, delicious stuff, and love the label. That's an armadillo on the bottle, isn't it?
That is the Nine Banded, the indigenous armadillo to the state of Texas.
So what does, and I think there's some people probably in Texas that know what Nine Banded means, but what does Nine Banded mean?
Well, there's different species of armadillo.
Right.
And so, as I understand it, and I've been educated by our founders and others here who are very passionate about their love for the armadillo, that the Nine Banded, so to count the number of bands on the back, you can do it that way.
Right.
That the Nine Banded is the indigenous armadillo. So that's the one that I believe, Texas being Texas, there's the state mammal being, I think, the longhorn. They have a big state mammal, and then they have a smaller state mammal. So yeah, you have the armadillo. But yeah, and then beyond that, I think the armadillo has an incredibly important meaning to the city of Austin. Right. And to, I think, artisans of all sorts, and what that represents from a generation and a time where Austin was a safe place for creatives to come and to pursue what it is that made them who they were. So with all due respect, the armadillo has a long history and a powerful message behind it. And it's a privilege to be able to share that when we go out and talk about our whiskeys.
That is
headquarters. Sorry to interrupt. The Armadillo World Headquarters. I wish that I had been there, but that was another thing too, is because Austin is such a music city. That was another reference, right? So the Armadillo was the World Headquarters, right, Kyle?
As I understand it, AC/DC played their first concert there.
Willie Nelson. It's like all of the local, AC/DC. What?
The first U.S. concert, as I understand, was played at the Armadillo World Headquarters.
No way.
There's a lot of really. I mean, I'm telling you, Jim Franklin, who's a friend of ours, and the person I think that you would say made the Armadillo the most visible with how he worked on the Lone Star campaigns back in the 80s, and then beyond that, an incredible amount of content that he captured with the Cowboys and the other musicians that Austin really, I think, I don't say embrace, but it's who we are.
Right.
And Jim was the artist who captured this. So Jim is very much part of our rudder in making sure that we honor that the right way with how we go about our business and who we partner with and who we support. And it's something that I feel really good about. It's the best part of the job by far, is knowing that you're doing good things for good people and supporting a community that deserves it. So
Absolutely.
cheers to Jim and the Armadillo.
Yes, and it's delicious whiskey. And again, this is 9 Banded. And for those of you just joining us, Kyle, Herman, Shelley Buck, they're in Austin, Texas. It's 9 Banded. We're glad to have you all joining us. We do this every night at 8 p.m. Eastern time on BourbonBlog.com, and wherever you're watching us, make sure you bookmark this and come back every night. It's great to be tasting some whiskey with you all. So for this one, for the 90 proof straight bourbon whiskey, what are we tasting? Tell us about this.
So honestly, Tom, they're both straight bourbons, but we're referring to the white label as the straight bourbon because when we move into the wheated, it's just a different mash bill essentially. Right. But on this guy here, this is your it's designed to be versatile. So this is the one we want you to recommend to dilute into a cocktail. You can definitely have it neat or on the rocks, or any way you dilute it into a cocktail, it's going to stand up because there's some rye in there. It is, and you know, I come from the rye world, so that 11% rye really stands up and gives this backbone and structure. So you have 87% corn, 87% corn, 11% rye, and 2% malted barley. And I'm telling you, that little bit of rye, you really, really taste it.
There's some nice spice in it, yeah.
What's that?
There's some nice spice.
Yeah, gives it some backbone and structure so that when you do dilute it, you know, into a cocktail, you can still taste it. So that's the idea there. We used to have another product. I don't know if you were going to bring it up or I can now. But that has basically been a label change and a classification change, right? It's called small batch, and now it is a straight bourbon. So looks very similar to the old label. However, it is now a straight bourbon, which we all know has to go and, you know, stay in that brand new charred American oak barrel for the minimum of the 2 years. Like such a silly little rule, but yeah. So now it is a straight bourbon.
Yes, it's very nice. And so this one I see is it's right around between 2 and 4 years old. What you have in the bottle, to me, you know, when I tasted it, I mean, it has some nice age on it. It has some nice barrel. It has some of that nice char, some nice creamy notes, maybe even a little bit of chocolate. I mean, it has some nice complexity to be a young whiskey.
Absolutely. And I think that, like, it's not, again, that 11% rye to me overshadows the 87% corn. It's not a super sweet style to me. Right. You get the barley just a very tiny bit as like a balancing component. And then the other secret sauce we want to talk about is our water, which you'll notice in this and in the wheated is a huge part of the recipe. So we have our own water source in Mason County, which is about a 2.5, almost 3 hour drive west of Austin in the hill country. It's gorgeous. I have a photo here. I don't know if this translates well on my camera. You see it?
Oh, that's nice.
So, Kyle, do you want to talk about what you were saying earlier about how many years it goes through the...
Yeah, I think this is a fun story. One, not being from Texas, I certainly didn't know, and I think most people don't, the abundance of just incredibly good water for making whiskey, amongst other things. But let's be honest, for making whiskey.
For whiskey,
yeah. So the Gaga is, I think, the largest underground aquifer in North America. Starts up in the Dakotas, takes about 1,000 years for it to come out. And so, you know, for those of you that are real enthusiasts and excitable about whiskey, it's a fun little adventure to go on to just take a look at and see how that aquifer translates through the middle of America. It takes about 1,000 years to come out the other end. And a fun story about how we learned a lot more about the water that we use was because we were not necessarily using it the right way in the beginning. And that is to say, understanding that just like many things in life, something that can be so good can also cause a different reaction. And so in this case, the richness, the amount of calcium, magnesium, limestone that comes out of this little hole in the ground, it's called the James River. It's about 10 times the amount comparatively to the Ohio River, which is always what we compare it to, right? And so we came to discover this because we were having flakes back in, let's call it 2018. I'm going to go ahead and again say I'm sorry to our operations guys for making the mistake of thinking that it was a filtration issue. When it turned out, it was just we were proofing too quickly. And we are a proud partner of MGP, and that was one of the things that early on we were discussing with them, the partnership that we learned, and why we're, one of many reasons we're so proud to be able to have them as a partner is because it was a pretty subtle difference of what we needed to do, which was just to continue to use this incredible water, but to slow down our proofing process, which is not the easiest thing to do when you only have 24 hours to use the water you pulled. But you know what? Yeah. So I mean, it's really cool. I wish we had video. I actually can go to the website. I think we have video on there. If not, we should. But encourage people to look at it. It's the real deal, and it makes all the difference. It's a huge part of our story.
That's incredible. That water makes the big difference.
We posted a video, water video on Earth Day. If you want to go back to the 9 Banded page, there's a whole video on our water. Yeah, that
was pretty cool. It's not easy to get to. I mean, it really, you have to be committed. Let's put it that way. Yeah, it
won't work out there. You have to be with someone who knows where they're going.
Yeah, but you can literally drink right out of the hole. You have about yay amount of space.
Wow.
To be able to pull from, and it's a pretty remarkable advantage to making whiskey out here.
Well, it is incredible to see how different terroirs can be brought together from the grains, the earth, the water. What flavors do you think? I mean, what is it, specifically? Because there's a lot going on here. Like I was saying earlier, I mean, to be a young whiskey, it's very approachable. It has sort of an alluring quality that makes you want to taste more because you're like, wow, there's some stuff going on here. It's very soft, but also it has that backbone to stand up good in the cocktail. So what is it? What flavors do you think it's doing, and what's it doing to the whiskey, the water?
I feel like it's more of a mouthfeel. It's a structural thing too, right?
Yep.
It's literally a different mouthfeel. It rounds it out. It brings all of those flavors together, right?
Right.
Like all of the rye and the barley and the corn really comes together, and the water literally it's just another ingredient, right? Those are all ingredients, and so is the age, and right. So I think that it's like it binds it, it ties it together, and then it gives it a mouthfeel. And of course, minerality. Like you can go on and on about minerality.
Oh, yeah. The minerality is doing some great things to it.
You mentioned terroir, Tom, and I'll tell you, this is one of the things I go advocate as much as I possibly can, not just for what we're doing, but what people are doing across the country. Is there is no way that this whiskey can taste the way that it tastes if it didn't do what it did to get to that bottle, right?
Yeah.
That last piece of it, and this is another tip of the cap to our friends at MGP and to Uncle Barry Yonke about barrel management in particular, and recognizing Texas, we have, it's hot here, right? Let's call a spade a spade. It's hot. It's a different kind of hot. And I'm from Tucson, so I'm saying that's real hot. So
Maui, so yes.
Yeah, right. So and that last piece of the puzzle, what it does to impress its stamp on the barrel when it gets here is a real thing. Wow. So the barrel management component of it is such an important piece. You really have to stay on that, because if you don't, you're going to end up with an oak bomb. And all respect to those who like that sort of thing, that's not necessarily our cup of tea. But it's such an important part of it because, there's no way, I think, for this product to taste that way and for those subtleties to sort of come through if it weren't for that sort of last push into the barrel and out. And maybe that's the reason why it sort of tastes with that sort of, I don't know, to me, it's like a sweetness. But that rye, I totally agree with you, Shelley, sticks out.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like it rounds it out. It's like it pulls, how you put some of the pasta water in the sauce, right? It literally like helps it kind of bring it together. I don't know. And it brings also a little bit of a salinity. That minerality gives you that perception of just salinity, even though it's water. It's got that minerality that makes you like maybe brings you to a place, right? If you're thinking of Scotch and like terroir and what does this taste like, right? I think that this, soon we'll we'll get more people thinking about that, right? You know, besides just the terroir of the grain, you have the barrel and also the water.
All those elements
and the
just
yeast
come together in this bourbon, and it's really good. I mean, it's something it doesn't remind me of anything in particular. I mean, there's something that's really just beautiful, complex, but also soft about this. And again, you're across the country now. How many states are you all in?
We're in 12 states now, and we'll see how things sort of shake out as the country reconciles each market with what is, you know, the opportunity. But yeah, it's been a fun ride, and it started to accelerate quickly, and we're very fortunate. We have incredibly good, strong, meaningful wholesale partners that make all the difference at the end of the day.
Oh yeah. And you since restaurant bars shut down during coronavirus, what's it been like for your brand? I've asked all the brands this that have been on since we've been talking. Give us an idea of what's been happening.
You go.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was talking about this today with Rick Guerrero, who's an incredibly important person on our team, has a really incredible background in branding and in operations, and seen a lot more than I have, including some pretty big events globally. And so when you go through these types of periods of time, you really get a real temperature on who you are and who your partners are. And our distribution from a pod perspective and account sold perspective is quite honestly exploded. And for us, being based in Texas is a huge advantage. There's no question about that. Texans are fierce about taking care of their own. They're incredibly gracious. Shelley and I can speak to this, both not being from here, that they invite you in and they say, just honor the rules that come with it, which is don't be a jerk, pretty much. And so, we're fortunate. Republic is a really strong partner of ours here in Texas and most of the country. And honestly, they dove in hard with us. And so in doing so, I think we can look back at this period of time and be incredibly grateful that we were where we were and who we partnered with. And I think we'll be stronger because of it. I think just the tough part is seeing your friends and peers and colleagues, much of Tom, which you've given incredible opportunity to advocate for a long time, what they've had to go through. So we're really, really blessed. And Shell? Yeah.
Well, yeah, like I was saying, earlier when we were just catching up, it's the sad part is, I just moved here. I just started with the brand and I was hired on to call on the restaurants and bars. And so getting to know them all right before this happened, it's like, hurry up and it's sad. It's great that everyone's still drinking and everyone's still buying from retail. However, we just launched 2 new bourbons and then we had to shut down. And so the reality of that has been kind of intense, and I've been switching gears and helping in other departments in the company to be, earn my keep. But it's been a challenge, and try to keep your finger on the pulse. We just recently reopened in Texas. Many of the bars just reopened. To me, that's a little frightening, but I'm excited for people to make money again. It's a scary time right now. And I think that, we are fortunate to have retail. That is like the honest opinion of, us being able to stay afloat. Right, Kyle?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the narrative, right, to let's call them the enthusiasts, people that are not, of the trade, not part of our circle, read about volume increases and they get a perspective that is quite opposite for the truth for many, which is, commoditized brands, whether it's Heinz ketchup or Lucky Charms or whatever people are familiar with. It's great for them, right? It's great for public companies who all they have to do is make their shareholders happy by achieving a volume objective. Good for them. The reality is, though, it's been a pretty heavy toll. In the Washington Post this morning, I think Mr. Brown put it into the blast, talking about, just just the real life effect. Now, I will say, and this is the really good part, right?
Mm-hmm.
The loosening of some of these rules that don't make any sense. So I was excited to read, I think in New York, that there's an opportunity for them to sort of recalculate, as well as many other states where we can do the cocktails to go, that there's going to be, an opening of a channel, albeit not maybe going to give the same sort of return in the short term,
Right.
but some movement to allow us to find more ways to keep people feeling good and drinking good booze. So, it's not a whole loss, but it does stink for those that are suffering. And so with much love and support to those that are going through that.
Absolutely. And hopefully some of the laws that have been relaxed, we will continue to see those on the books for as long as they need to be. And I know that there's such a special community of bartenders and hospitality in Austin. Austin's so big on hospitality, and again, for you in your all's neck of the woods there, restaurants and bars have reopened too.
Yeah, I find it's close to 40% of our restaurants that, quite a few of them have reopened.
Right.
A lot of them are not quite yet. They're waiting a week or two, seeing how.
And honestly, it's consumer confidence. I mean, you can open everything up tomorrow across the country, and if people are not comfortable, they're not comfortable. Yeah. I went to one of my absolute favorite discoveries when I came to Texas, Whiskey Cake, a couple weeks ago. I think they have one of the best programs in the country. This was just after they opened, like literally, I think the day or two after the governor allowed that to happen. And for me, the part that was, hard, you just didn't hear the chatter in the background, right? Somebody in the bar, maybe it was me, maybe it was Shelley, maybe it was you, Tom, screaming for a round of shots, or, that part of it. And I had as much, I think in that moment, the empathy for the service community, right? And what it would be like to be on the other side and seeing just a consumer that wasn't necessarily sure. Now, I think we're going to get there, and I think things are going to work themselves out. And I have definitely an optimistic attitude towards everything. But I think we have to be honest with each other about the reality of, you can open every door tomorrow. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to get that business back overnight. So be sensitive and make sure you order takeout, folks.
Yeah.
Right.
That's so important. Yes. To support them in that way too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the to-go cocktails where you can. And
yeah.
And I think Shelley, you have a cocktail plan for us. Is it with this first whiskey?
Yeah. Do you want to do that now? Well, I guess it doesn't matter for your palates because I'm only making it for me.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you want to do since we're talking cocktails? Yeah. Why don't you? We'll have you do. Just to give us an idea, I mean, obviously, this bourbon, it can be a delicious fit for so many great cocktails. What do you recommend it in?
Yeah, so when we get into the weeded, I'll talk about that. But that we mostly see in your spirit forward cocktails, very simple, old fashions, Manhattans. You can the weeded plays well there. But in every other case, if you're doing something, with citrus or shaken or diluted, again, we want you to use this because once you dilute it, you still have some flavor standing up there. Not that the weeded would stand up; it would just be a different mouthfeel, right?
Right,
so,
right.
Since we are in quarantine, I'm going with sort of like not a kitchen sink by any means, because I do have some great ingredients from previous cocktail videos. But I have dehydrated strawberries because, believe it or not, Amazon Fresh didn't have fresh strawberries. And so I ordered these for something else, and they're great because they're shelf stable. You can keep them. I didn't bring the little baggie, but it's like that little Whole Foods brand. It's just freeze-dried strawberries. And honestly, I meant to do this sooner, but I did a cocktail with Randy Evans and Liquid Alchemist a couple weeks ago on his live feed. And basically, I was using his strawberry, and that's why I ordered these. But I ended up reconstituting these with white balsamic, which was a trip. I'd never done that before. And let me tell you, it was really, really good. It was a little pickled strawberry garnish. But I'm at home, so I'm not going to measure this, but I would do maybe a 1/4 ounce, maybe a 1/2 ounce. These are going to come back to life really fast. They're just little slivers of strawberry. So I'm reconstituting the strawberries with orange liqueur. You can use Cointreau, triple sec, whatever you have. This is, Combier.
The Combier is so lovely. I love that one.
Yeah, but I like to doctor up a buck, which, of course, my last name is Buck. I love making bucks with whiskey because I love ginger and I love whiskey, so why not? And then we'll do, let's see. So normally I make this drink with an orange slice in it and the Cointreau, and you just give it a little bit of a muddle. If you don't have a muddler, don't worry about it. Again, we're at home, no one cares, right?
Just muddle that down with whatever kind of fruit you're using.
Some of the flavors from the strawberry, because it's literally they're already getting soft in there.
Right.
And then this is my entertainment center that I made into a bar. And we're gonna put some ice, okay? Super simple. However much whiskey you need. How long has your day been? It's 5 o'clock somewhere. But I would do 1.5 ounces or 2 ounces in there, okay? And then here's where you can also get fun. It's like kind of whatever you have. I would use ginger beer if I had Fever Tree ginger beer. That's my jam. But you can do LaCroix. That would be really good in there. Or in this case, I think I'm going to do ginger ale. Because
little ginger ale on top, yeah.
Yeah, old school. Because that's what I have.
It's a good example of just taking the best and making the best.
No, I'm only like 20 minutes down the road, Kyle. If you want to come by, you can do it.
I just want to know, is it LaCroix or LaCroix? And when can we finally put an end to this argument?
You know, we're going to speak French. We got to ask a French friend. Do you know? I've been saying LaCroix. Is it LaCroix? I don't know.
LaCroix.
On the live feed for sure, right? Just give it a stir or plop a, whatever, a swizzle in there. Who cares? Yeah, but that's kind of my twist on a summer breeze or a buck. So cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers. That looks really
nice. Shelley. Yeah.
To refresh yourself.
See, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
I bet that turned out really nice.
That could be poolside all day long on a hot day. It's literally like whiskey sangria. Nice.
No, that's beautiful. And so many ways to use the 9 Banded, and that's thanks for that demonstration. And of course, a brand that Texas and Austin has really gotten behind, and now has legs in 12 total states, right?
12 states.
Right.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
And
it's always great to see brands like places like Austin that support a brand like that, and you get some real enthusiasm behind that, and then you carry on.
I mean, it's translating outside pretty well too. California, one of the largest chains, Albertsons, Vons, Pavilions Group. It's 180 stores now that we're building out into.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's Austin, just from a brand building perspective, right? It's pretty remarkable from any CPG company. You got to start here in Austin. And it's certainly stopped by and a lot of other incredible ACL, these incredible events that bring people in from all over the world, get a chance to come here, take the temperature, and many of us don't want to leave. And it's something about what that represents. And it's interesting coming from the wine business years ago, sort of how people look at Napa and they look at these different areas and say, well, there's something to be said. It's an exportable part of the story, right? Well, I think Austin clearly is also, and tip of the cap to Tito in particular. Can't do without him. But there's a lot of really incredible success stories for CPG brands that come from Austin. And I think that part of it, Tom, is because we hold each other accountable. And we have a community here that will support you, but it will also kick you in the butt if you're not doing things the right way. So it's a really awesome place to have that formation come from, for sure.
Excellent. No, it's so great, and such great whiskey. And then we have the let's try the wheated bourbon. Tell us about the wheated. I think the wheated, and again, the white label, the black label. It's a good way to. Unlike some bourbon brands where the labels are so close, I like how different these are. So we definitely know we're grabbing the wheated bourbon. They're also at 90 proof. Just really delicious stuff. Again, same aging, around 2 to 4 years for this one.
Exactly.
Correct.
I'll give you the breakdown, and then I want Kyle to tell the story of how this snuck into our lineup and why it became a 9-banded product. But this is 51% corn, right? So we have the minimum amount of corn to be a bourbon.
Right.
And then 45% wheat. So pretty high on wheat. And then 4% malted barley. So again, the wheat, wheat makes it sweet. This is going to help round it out, not just our water source, but that high amount of wheat gives this such a, like a sexy, smooth texture. This becomes more of a feminine style, more of a sipping style, whereas that one has a little more backbone to it. The white label straight stands up. It's got that rye, where this is more of that smooth sipper.
This is a lot of wheat. I mean, this is something that this is good, really good, and really interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah. Kyle?
I mean, this is a great story. Because the best stories are always exactly how they happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you who don't know, Texas has some very interesting laws, and one is the on-premise, right? You're purchasing from retail, so it's actually a 4-tier system, not a 3-tier system. Well, one of the benefits of that system is there are certain places that are really the only go-to for the on-premise to purchase their products. So you could be out in the middle. Texas is obviously a very big state. And so you might just stumble on a Weller green, maybe a 12, maybe an antique.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're going to pay $40 a liter or something like that,
Right.
which literally did happen to me and literally did knock me on my backside. So being in Los Angeles as long as I had been, I think I paid that for an ounce, and proudly did. I think the BTACs are phenomenal.
They're like everywhere else. That's right. There's no way to actually do allocations based on sales history. Like that's impossible to pull up here. They can't do that.
I mean, it's even hard to even explain until you get here. And it took me, before I moved here, I used to joke around. I used to fake it to make it in Texas. It's like, oh, okay, keep fulfillment in place. Great, I'm out of here. Let's have a good time. Then everything's fine. To have to build a brand out of Texas, it was a pretty big learning curve. And part of it was just understanding that point of like, how do you manage systems that involve another piece of it, right? It was hard enough dealing with a 3-tier. How do you deal with a 4-tier? Well, one of the wonderful things that come with that is that you do have an opportunity to find. And by the way, people that are listening to this, do not come here and start hunting. I will find you. The rest of us. I'm kidding, of course, but you can find,
bottle hunting, by the way, because there are lots of
we're always hunting, of course.
Right.
Hunting here,
yeah. You can find bottles here that normally be a lot harder. So the longest story of the story is Barry, who I mentioned earlier, Barry Yonke is our dear friend and partner at MGP, who has, from my perspective and who I've met, nobody who has a better, deeper dive of all things about whiskey, from the branding side, production side, the whole nine. And I was visiting along with Sarah Southern, our VP of Sales, and Amir Arad, our VP of Ops, inside MGP, which is absolutely one of the coolest experiences of my career, hands down. The place is awesome.
Yes. Yep.
Musing about how to compete in a category that, knowing that the wheat grain price is higher, it's harder to be able to compete because of the COGS. And then how do you get to a point where a consumer that's fallen in love with Weller, that you can get into the game, right? So long story short, we're doing a blending session. This was when we were taking the white label and moving it from an American whiskey to straight bourbon. And Barry snuck in the lineup, the cask strength of the wheat. And it was an oh shit moment, like, wow, this is incredible. And inspiring in the sense that you knew that there was something that you could achieve, right? You had the right pieces of the puzzle in order to be able to get to the end game, which is how do you put something out that people can afford to drink, which was the very original concept behind Nine Banded, was making something without pretense that people could drink every day and enjoy. So, starting sort of from that moment and then having to go back, reverse engineer it, start seeing if our water would work with it, the whole nine. It's a pretty awesome thing, for us. We won a silver medal at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition.
Congratulations.
Thank you for for our money, no marketing dollars are going to influence that medal. And from a pricing perspective, and if you actually look at the awards that were given out, for us to receive that medal at our price point is pretty incredible. So we're really proud of it.
Too, right? Because when did you submit? I mean, we were only out for a month or two when you submitted that.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of our earliest batches. Wow. I mean, we were still learning on the fly, and I mean, but the great thing about it, right? You're starting with great bones, and the blending piece of it, and with Dave in the background in particular, the person who I think has had more influence on our industry, and hopefully more than just our industry, understanding how important that is. That is the beauty, right? That's the art, the blending, and nobody said it better than Dave. So I think it's 100% fair to include Dave, included those who have been advocating and really trying to focus on why crafting and art is such an important part of making a beautiful bourbon. So respect.
No, it absolutely is.
Not just the sourcing aspect, right? But also like he put, I feel like we did on the map, obviously Maker's Mark is his favorite style. It wasn't even his favorite style. He left to go make Monongahela rye, but he's the reason we know what Maker's Mark is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
No, this is so nice. And that wheated really shines through it, especially on the finish, that really comes across so beautifully. It's
roundness,
really, and they're really two very different expressions. I mean, the front end maybe on the wheated is a little similar to the front end of the straight bourbon, but I mean it really changes up midway through, and that finish, you get that rye, that softness. It's incredibly done. It's really nice, and again has that flavor that to me is it's more reminiscent of something older than 2 to 4 years old. So it's incredibly done. You recommend it obviously for sipping, but you said Manhattans, old fashions you would do. What would you do, Shelley, with this one?
Yeah, something spirit forward, something stirred.
Right.
Does play well in an egg white sour. I'm not gonna lie. Somebody gave me the idea to try an egg white sour, and it does work.
Oh, I bet so.
But I usually like a little more kick in an egg white sour. So this, if you want to like a softer version of one, then yes. But again, you don't want to lose the integrity of the whiskey, right? You still want the base spirit. Right. So I would recommend a very simple old fashioned. You can play around with the bitters. I like using orange bitters, tobacco bitters, cherry bitters, whatever.
Right.
And I mean, I've made other cocktails similar sort of. You could, if that's what you have at home. It's not going to taste bad at all.
Yeah.
But if you want to taste the whiskey, I wouldn't put mixers with this necessarily.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, these are both really delicious, and I'm just kind of going back between the two, and they both really showcase something different and special about bourbon and the water, the terroir, how everything's been brought together incredibly well with 9 Bandit. Any obviously these are both great. Any other whiskeys that we may see from you all in the near future? Are you all working on anything else you can talk about?
Do you want to tell about Total Wine?
No, I mean in terms of the new expressions, the new marks.
What are you looking towards the future, I guess, for 9 Bandit?
Yeah, I mean, I think the cast strength in particular. Part of what got me really excited when we first brought the wheat to market, we had let's call it a little bit of a delay between when we anticipated releasing it and when we needed to release it, right? And of course, everyone in sales and sort of that side is like, oh, we got to bring it to market as soon as possible. I'm glad that we did at the end of the day. We needed to make sure it was ready, and we had enough of that sort of Texas finish on it to be able to make it what we are drinking today. And the cast strength of the wheat is special. And, Shelley, that book behind you, is that Sam's book behind you? So part of what you get, right? Yes. So when you're not ready to go to market, but you want to be, people like me and many of us will go around and start tasting people, get a real temperature, right? Just put things in people's mouths and get a feedback on what you got. So Sam was one of the first people who had tried the cast strength, and when he got excited, I got excited. We went out to the Roots Festival out in Bentonville, an incredible event, incredible chefs, incredible minds, again, putting it in people's mouths. Our wholesale partners, again, not not telling them what's in there, just letting people try it. And it was a pretty awesome thing to get that sort of validation, because, you know, everyone of us has a hope, right, going into it, but then to have that moment. So I think it helped us quite a bit to be at that moment where we are now, and exciting because both SKUs are basically about a 50-50 split. You know, the black label is about $40 and the white label is about $30. And so it goes back to wanting again for people to be able to drink it every day.
Sure. So again, about $30 for the white label, about 40. Those are really good value prices. I mean, obviously, what matters is what's in the bottle, but obviously, if we can find, especially right now, bourbons that we can find for $30-$40, all the better. I mean, that's incredible. So really, great job getting them to those prices and offering something in markets, a variety of markets that's approachable, that's tasty, that's great by itself, that's great in cocktails. So very exciting.
Thanks, Tom. Thank you very much. Yeah.
The other thing that's like, I guess the only silver lining in this whole pandemic is, you know, people are buying more things online. And for us only being in 12 states, right, Kyle? We're on Drizzly. We're on, you know, we're getting on a lot of those platforms. We have a click to buy on our website now. So even though we might not be in your state, you can find a retailer through our website that can ship you a bottle. So that's really exciting for me anyways, because, you know, coming from small brands that are not in every state. I'm from Hawaii. We're the last to get anything over there. So I was trying to find like our least expensive retailer on the mainland that could ship to Hawaii, because all my friends want to try it. They want to buy it. They want to support us. But we don't have it in Hawaii yet. So that's my little hint.
We're working on that. We're working on that.
That's all right. Let me give everybody the website right there. 9abandonedwhiskey.com is the site to go to learn more about if it's in your state or where to order it or wherever it might be. What states are you in?
There's all of our platforms on there, that, like Drizzly and etc. You can click to buy. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, Tom. So from left to right, we're in California, Nevada, Arizona, obviously here in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, Wisconsin, which has been a lot of fun, New York, Florida, and I can't remember who I'm forgetting. But I will say that the next phase is going to be a big jump for us, which we're excited about. So we'll see you soon, and thanks so much, dude, for what you do for all of us.
It's so great having you on here on our nightly show. And again, go to 9bandedwhiskey.com to learn more, and we'll definitely be bringing you all updates on this brand as they continue to progress. It'll be fun to see you guys hopefully sometime in the near future in Austin, Texas. And thank you all so much. Shelley and Kyle both. It's been a lot of fun tasting these with you, and we may have to try that you're calling it the Buck, is that right? Or the Summer Breeze, right, Shelley?
Yeah, you can do. I think I might start calling it whiskey sangria, because it's kind of what it is. You're just kind of
I love it.
whatever fruit you have, and you know what I mean. A little bit of, rather than brandy, we're using, you know, orange liqueur, but yeah, you can always throw a fruity something with your ginger and your whiskey, and it's going to be good. So. In this case, I use strawberries instead of an orange slice, but ginger ale, ginger beer, or the craw.
I'm going to try that. I'm going to try experimenting with some cocktails with this and tell you all what I come up with. It's extremely well done. So you guys keep up the great work. It'll be fun to hear when the cast strength comes out. Definitely keep us posted, and we'll keep everybody posted on BourbonBlog.com. And keep coming back every night for our live shows here at wherever you're watching, at 8 p.m. on this channel or bourbonblog.com/live. Cool. Thank you all.
Thanks, Tommy.
There they are.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yes.
Cheers, guys.